Today, I'll be doing a review of the 2018 revitalization of the old hurler, Twisted Timbers. Twisted Timbers is an amazing RMC hybrid that may not fill the stat sheet with high speed or high heights, inversion counts, anything like that, but makes up for an amazing low-to-the-ground, powerful airtime moments. This thing is about as elite as a small-scale RMC can be, but where it ranks and where it is between 1 and 10 is where you will see later in the video. But just like all the other reviews, we'll be starting with the entry experience. Compared to its Cedar Fair counterpart Steel Vengeance, I think it is a lot better. First, the coaster and the first drop is just so stunning to see when walking up to the ride, and one of the first things you see is the Twisted Timbers logo, which is so sleek, and the Twisted Tree is also super cool. Then when you enter the line, there's some nice theming elements that you would not expect. You have a huge truck, and almost a meteor crash, which looks amazing. Then you have some covered switchbacks, which don't really have much theming at all, but you get some amazing views of the zero-G roll that runs right next to it, and all the other stuff around there. After that, you hit a straight section that has some of the best views of the ride possible, going right next to the camelbacks and runs directly under the outer bank, which is just so surreal to see off-ride. Then you gotta drop your stuff in the free lockers, which are super nice, and you gotta actually put your stuff in there, because there is metal detection. After the metal detection, you just walk straight forward, you get to some stairs, which, by the way, there's like a truck thing over you that looks really cool, and then to your right, you have the camelbacks that you can get some great off-ride from. Then the station has some amazing paintings on the wall, but other than that, it's just a normal station, but you sit down in these standard RMC trains, strap in, and you are ready to ride Twisted Timbers. You begin the ride with a small right-hand turn into the lift hill, which for some reason isn't as loud compared to the other RMCs I've done. I've been on Wildcat's Revenge and Steel Vengeance, and those lifts are so much louder than this one. Twisted Timbers has a quiet lift hill compared to those, but it is still pretty loud because you still can't hear the people right next to you, which is a problem. But for me, it was a little bit quieter, I guess. But you get to the top, and unlike most first drops, it isn't just a straight down drop, but a inversion. You turn 180 degrees to the right and just smoothly turn over down the drop. I actually like this drop a lot, being that not only is it stunning off-ride to look at, and the video is cool too, but you get some great whip in the back. You don't get traditional airtime, which is why a lot of people might not like it, but for me, super unique. I think it's the only inversion first drop I've done, and I love it a lot. After that, you hit a small hill, which sadly, like the one on Steel Vengeance, it doesn't really have any airtime. It's really weird, because instead of airtime, you were just slightly pushed up and then drop back down, but no airtime to be felt. You follow that up with one of the only dud elements of this ride being the overbank. In no means am I saying that it's like bad, but it's just weaker in this array of elements on the ride. No real positive forces, so it's not intense. It's just a way to turn the ride around, and it's fine, but I feel like they could have done something else here. Also, a funny thing, this starts the only right turns thing, being that this ride doesn't have one left turn other than maybe the outer bank, which is really weird but interesting, I guess. But right after that, you hit maybe my favorite part of the ride, the triple camelbacks. And just like the name, it's just 3 airtime hills back to back to back, but it's just so incredible in every way. You are just ejected out of your seat on all of those hills, and it's also extremely sustained, and really the only sustained airtime on this ride, but it's just so fun. And every hill, the airtime just gets more and more powerful. This is a contender for the best moment of the ride pretty easily. After this, you hit a cut back to the right, and this is definitely the weakest inversion on the ride. After my first ride, I didn't really notice that it was even an inversion, but I guess it barely is. And again, this is just an element to turn the ride around. It's not long enough to have any hang time, but not quick enough to have any insane whip to it. It's just alright. Continuing with the ride, this is where you get a lot of low-to-the-ground moments. It's very similar to Steve's second half, where it's just a lot of low-to-the-ground airtime hills, a good zero-G roll, but continuing with that theme, you get an airtime hill with some good ejector. But that follows up into a double-up-esque element that on the first hill, you get good ejector airtime, but then you have a trick track double down on the way down. The second hill up is banked to the right, so you get some good ejector, and then the second part on the double down is banked to the left and just ejects you out of your seat. So incredibly fun, and in my opinion, the strongest airtime moment on the ride pretty easily. It's so powerful. You then hit another small airtime hill that again just piles that ejector on you, giving you another dose of that powerful airtime, but then you roll into another strong moment of airtime in the outer bank. This one is just so weird, being it's super small, powerful, and unorthodox at the same time. You turn to the right like you're doing an overbank, but then snap to the left at the top and get some of that sweet ejector airtime. You then start turning to the right again on the way down, like a overbank style element almost. It turns the ride around a whole 180 degrees, but still manages to get some good airtime in, and I love what they did here. It's so much better than just the cutback or the overbank. I really like it. Following that is another airtime hill, which is good and gets to the final inversion, the 0G roll. This roll is good, being that you go through it with some speed, but don't get me wrong, it's just alright, I guess. Not the greatest inversion out there, but it's still super cool being this low to the ground. After this, you hit a whippy turn that you don't really expect this far into the ride, another mini turn, and hit the final element, another airtime hill. After all the airtime, this hill just hits so different, man. It's so powerful after your knees have been bruised, basically, after this, but it's still really good. But after that, you rise into the brakes, which you do get a good little bit of airtime if you're in the front, and that ends your ride on Twisted Timbers. Twisted Timbers is one of the most pure fun roller coasters I have ever ridden. Even though the ride doesn't have the height going for it, being that it's one of the shorter RMCs, the elements in this thing just have pure strength like no other and are relentless from start to finish, having some amazing airtime. If it's with the sustained airtime hills in the first half, or the second half with the insane double up or outer bank, or the finishing hills that make your thighs hurt by the end of the ride, it's all just a collectively great ride. Throw in a couple inversions like the barrel roll down drop, which I liked a lot, and the other 0G roll, you just have a complete ride from start to finish. This ride is easily a top 5 coaster I've been on. I give it a easy 9.5 out of 10 and lands exactly at the number 5 spot in my rankings, just behind another RMC, Wildcats Revenge, that I will be doing a review for soon. Thanks for watching. I loved all of my 12 rides in this thing. I'm so blessed that I could get 12 rides in this thing. But what do you think of this RMC? But other than that, have a good day.